They had the fame, the fortune, and a love story the world envied. But behind the lights of Hollywood, something beautiful was quietly falling apart. For nearly 2 decades, the world saw Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban as the golden pair, proof that true love could survive Hollywood. Red carpets, awards, laughter, they seemed untouchable. But while the cameras caught smiles, something quiet was shifting behind them. The truth didn't crash in with drama. It slowly revealed itself through distance-long pauses and the stories they never finished telling. Now, as Nicole steps beyond the shadow of a 19-year marriage, what's surfacing isn't just a headline about heartbreak. It's a look at what truly happens when fame begins to outshine love. When the man once known for love songs realizes that even the right melody can't hold 2 hearts together forever. At 57, Keith Urban stands between his past and what comes next, 19 years of memories behind him, and a life ahead that no longer fits the songs he used to sing. To millions, he's still the charming country icon, but to those watching closely, his eyes now carry a quiet ache, a kind of sadness that speaks louder than lyrics. Recently, headlines confirmed what whispers had long suggested. After almost 20 years, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman have parted ways. The announcement through Reuters made it official: Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban separate after 19 years of marriage. Fans paused, not in shock, but in recognition, as if a silent truth had finally been spoken aloud. Since then, Keith's music feels heavier, his performances more raw. The joy remains, but beneath it, there's a trace of honesty, songs that seem to carry the words he never said. To understand how he reached this moment, you have to rewind time, not to the stage, but to a quiet evening in 2005. An event celebrating Australian talent brought 2 stars together: Nicole, the graceful actress, with a soul full of mystery, and Keith, the magnetic storyteller whose voice carried both pain and hope. Their meeting wasn't fireworks, it was calm, a spark felt more than seen. Just a glance, a moment, a connection that silently promised something real. Nicole would later share that what drew her to Keith wasn't fame or charm, it was the quiet kindness in the way he listened, the steadiness that made her feel seen. Keith, in turn, often said it was Nicole's warmth, her calm grace, that captured him. For 2 people who had lived under constant flashes of cameras, their connection felt like an escape, 2 souls searching not for applause, but for peace. By June 2006, barely a year after meeting, that quiet spark became a promise for life. Their wedding in Sydney wasn't designed for headlines. It was intimate and heartfelt, family, close friends, soft light and sincerity. The ceremony at St. Patrick's Estate in Manly carried a stillness that felt sacred. For them, it wasn't about spectacle or coverage. It was about creating something genuine in a world that often trades love for illusion. From the start, Keith and Nicole seemed to bridge 2 universes: the Oscar-winning actress and the country music icon, both successful yet grounded in gratitude. To fans, they were proof that real love could survive fame's glare. Their chemistry on red carpets looked effortless, their interviews radiated humor and respect. They spoke of faith, family, and the discipline it takes to stay connected when the world is watching. Soon came 2 daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret. Nicole often called motherhood her truest blessing, while Keith described his wife as the heart that steadied him. Together, they built a quiet home in Nashville, far from Hollywood's noise, a decision that said more than any interview could. 2 global stars choosing peace over publicity. For almost 20 years, they seemed to rewrite the Hollywood rulebook. Where others fell apart, they held on. They appeared at each other's premieres, concerts, and awards, always side by side, always soft-spoken, always real. They weren't just spouses, they were teammates. Yet even the strongest stories carry unseen cracks. Not from betrayal, but from time itself. Behind the glowing smiles, there were pauses, the kind born from distance, exhaustion, and the slow drift that comes when life pulls 2 people toward different rhythms. Keith's career was soaring, world tours, sold-out arenas, a legacy expanding far beyond country borders. But success comes quietly priced. The sleepless flights, the lonely hotel rooms, the milestones missed at home. Later, Keith would admit that life on the road could feel empty, the applause fading into silence once the stage lights dimmed. For every encore, there was a missed family dinner. For every award, a birthday celebrated without him. Fame gave him almost everything, yet quietly took the things that mattered most. Nicole understood she had lived that rhythm too, the separation, the toll, the emotional cost of performance. But as the years unfolded, the distance began to stretch slowly, quietly, until it became a part of their rhythm. It wasn't that love had disappeared. It was that life had changed tempo. 2 hearts once beating in harmony began to move to different tunes. Schedules filled the spaces where connection used to live. Every tour meant one more goodbye. Every film shoot meant another countdown until home. They tried with calls at midnight, surprise visits, handwritten notes filled with warmth, but sometimes even the strongest bonds can't outpace time. The truth was simple but heavy. They were both chasing dreams that asked for everything, leaving little left for each other. For years, they masked it well. To the public, their love looked untouchable. In private, the cracks were faint, the kind that only widen when ignored. Yet through it all, there was tenderness. Keith often spoke of how Nicole saved him her presence, guiding him through his battles with addiction. Nicole in turn called Keith her inspiration, his music, his passion, his persistence. These weren't for the cameras. They were real. But even the purest kind of love can grow tired. As time passed, both reached new peaks. Nicole entered what critics called her second golden era, shining in films and acclaimed series. Keith continued to conquer global stages, leading charts and mentoring new artists. From the outside, it looked perfect success, family, love, a dream realized. But behind the spotlight, the harmony that once connected them began to fade into silence. And it's that silence, the kind that creeps in when words go unspoken, that often marks the start of goodbye. Because not all endings are loud. Some drift in quietly, between flights, between takes, between applause and empty hotel rooms. The story of Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman isn't one of scandal or betrayal, it's one of being human. Two people fighting to preserve something precious while life kept pulling at the edges. It's about the cost of ambition, the toll of distance, and the quiet ache of realizing that love, though powerful, sometimes isn't enough to keep two souls on the same path. Yet even in parting, there's dignity. What they built wasn't a failure, it was a season. A chapter filled with meaning, family, and lessons that will echo through their lives. Now as Keith stands at this new crossroads, older, wiser, softer, his songs sound different. The man who once sang of perfect love now sings of real love, the kind that survives not in forever, but in memory. And real love, as Keith has come to understand, isn't a fairy tale. It's raw, unpredictable, and sometimes painfully finite. If this story moves you, make sure to subscribe and tap the bell because more untold celebrity journeys are coming your way. Their story began like something written in starlight, two Australians who had walked separate paths, suddenly finding each other beneath Hollywood's relentless glow. It was 2005 at a gala celebrating Australian talent when Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's worlds quietly collided. It wasn't a movie moment, no orchestras, no slow-motion flashbulbs, but there was something undeniable, a quiet spark that needed no words. Nicole would later describe it as gentle and grounding, like meeting someone she had known all her life. Keith said he was struck by her calm strength, a woman of grace who carried fame with humility. Both had seen how the spotlight could distort love, and both longed for something real, not attention, but understanding. Perhaps that's why their connection felt sacred. It didn't come from chaos, but from calm. When the world finally noticed their bond, they were already deeply entwined. Their romance unfolded with grace as if guided by fate. Keith would call her nightly sometimes just to hear her breathing on the other end. Nicole told close friends she hadn't felt that, seen that, known in years. Then came June 2006, the night that would define their love story forever. Sydney, their shared home. The ceremony at St. Patrick's Estate glowed with candlelight and reverence. Nicole walked down the aisle in an ivory Balenciaga gown, elegant yet serene. Keith stood waiting, eyes glistening, emotion flooding every expression. The wedding wasn't built for cameras, only for hearts. Family, close friends, a few colleagues, no spectacle, no intrusion. Two icons choosing intimacy over image. When they exchanged vows, it wasn't just a celebrity marriage. It was two souls promising to stand together against fame's unrelenting pull. In a world of fleeting love stories, theirs felt timeless. Afterward, they made Nashville their home, a deliberate retreat from Los Angeles and its noise. Nashville became their quiet fortress, a space to raise their daughters away from lenses and headlines. Keith called it their piece of normal. He'd spend hours in his studio writing songs that captured the softness of their life together. Nicole, who had already conquered Hollywood, found peace in the simplicity in family breakfasts, long walks, and the rare stillness of a life built not for fame, but for love. Nicole often said that motherhood grounded her more than anything else. She'd walk her daughters to school, cook family dinners, and call those moments the truest part of her life. Their love seemed to bridge two separate worlds, his filled with guitars and long tours, hers with scripts and film sets, yet they always managed to meet somewhere in the middle. In interviews, they talked about the small things that kept them close: constant communication, shared faith, and the quiet promise of always showing up. Keith would fly across oceans just to walk beside her on a red carpet. Nicole would shift filming schedules so she could stand in the crowd at his concerts. Their relationship looked unshakable, two people perfectly in rhythm. Fans adored them for it. In a business known for fleeting romances, they were the rare proof that love could survive fame, distance, and pressure if built on mutual respect. But even the brightest stories hold shadows. Behind the laughter and hand-holding photos were the quiet hours no one saw, the lonely hotel rooms, the fatigue after endless flights, the calls missed because of time zones and exhaustion. For years, they guarded their love from the noise outside, fiercely private, loyal, and protective of what they had built. Nicole once said, "We never go more than a few weeks without being together." But as their careers expanded, those weeks sometimes stretched longer. Still in those early years, their devotion never wavered. In 2008, they welcomed their first daughter, Sunday Rose, a name that symbolized light and serenity. Nicole shared that Sunday was inspired by Sunday Reid, an Australian woman who influenced her deeply. 2 years later, Faith Margaret arrived through a surrogate, completing the family and bringing even more harmony to their lives. For Keith, fatherhood was life-changing. He often said his daughter softened him, made him more patient, more aware of time's fragile beauty. Nicole too embraced motherhood with joy, calling her children her purpose beyond fame. Together, they built a life that looked both extraordinary and deeply human. They weren't just global stars, they were parents reading bedtime stories, partners stealing quiet moments in kitchens between flights and shoots. For over a decade, their marriage appeared unbreakable, filled with laughter, support, and an ease that made the world believe they had discovered the secret to lasting love in Hollywood. But love stories rarely crumble overnight. They fade slowly, quietly, until one day you realize the laughter has turned into small silences. Behind the success, the red carpets and the applause, tiny cracks had begun to form. Not from betrayal or scandal, but from something far more human: time. As their careers soared, their moments together shrank. The more they tried to hold on, the faster life seemed to pull them apart. Keith was living in motion night after night, performing for thousands, his voice echoing through arenas. But when the lights went out and the crowds disappeared, the silence hit harder than the spotlight ever did. Nicole, on the other hand, was diving into her own renaissance, taking on bold new roles that reignited her passion for storytelling. From the outside, both looked unstoppable. But privately, they were beginning to live in two different worlds, his built from melodies, hers from scripts. There were no explosive fights, no tabloid scandals, just two people slowly drifting, held together by love, yet separated by life. Friends described that time as emotionally heavy, full of affection, but also fatigue, the kind that sleep can't fix. Keith often said Nicole was his anchor, and she was. But even anchors can't hold steady when the waves of ambition keep rising. It wasn't about falling out of love, it was about trying to keep love alive while life kept moving faster. Over time, the truth began to echo through Keith's songs, lyrics, softer tone, heavier melodies, carrying pain he couldn't speak. For Nicole, the silence said it all. She smiled through premieres, smiled through interviews, but behind those smiles was the quiet ache of distance. And maybe that's what hurts most, realizing that even the most beautiful love stories don't always end with a storm. Sometimes they just fade into something softer, something bittersweet. And as Keith's tours grew longer, as Nicole's roles demanded more of her time, their perfect harmony began to shift into quiet dissonance. What had once been a duet of souls singing the same melody was slowly turning into two separate songs. Still under the bright lights, they smiled. They performed. They showed the world the picture everyone wanted to see. But behind those smiles, both knew a truth the cameras never could: that even the purest love can struggle beneath the weight of two extraordinary lives. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because the next chapter dives deeper into the cost of fame, distance, and the heartbreak that even love couldn't outrun.